Despite having made an entire video on Hollow Ichigo, I still often get asked in the comments on my videos, what is up with Ichigo's Hollow Mask? Why is it that he never used his Hollow Mask after his battle against Aizen? Or what is the meaning or significance of these stripes that appear on Ichigo's Hollow Mask? So in this video, once and for all, I want to go over everything that we know about Ichigo's Hollow Mask, including all of the times that it appears within the story, covering all of the variations of his Hollow Mask, and ultimately understanding by the end of the video why Ichigo no longer calls upon his Hollow powers via his Hollow Mask after his battle against Aizen. So let's get into the topic of the video. This is my explanation of Ichigo's Hollow Mask. As we know throughout the story, whenever Ichigo needed to call upon his Hollow powers, he had donned a Hollow Mask. This concept or idea of the Hollow Mask is first introduced to us in chapter 64. During Ichigo's training with Kisuke Urahara, he obtains his own Shinigami powers. He appears with a Shinigami Shihakusho and a Hollow Mask. You'll note that Ichigo cracks this Hollow Mask and immediately removes it. This iteration of the Hollow Mask only appears to have two stripes running down it. As you're about to notice, as the story progresses and Ichigo relies upon his Hollow powers more and more, these red stripes increase. There is debate about what these markings on the face of the Hollow Mask represent. Are they a visual representation of how much control Ichigo's Hollow has over his powers? Or do the red stripes represent Ichigo's battle instincts? Some people have also theorized that these red stripes were like a ticking time bomb until Ichigo's Vasto Lorde transformation, as we see that the number of stripes continue to increase the more that Ichigo had summoned his Hollow Mask, and thus finally culminating into Ichigo's Vasto Lorde transformation against Ukiura. The first time that this Hollow Mask begins to form on the face of Ichigo is in chapter 62. Ichigo is given a strict time limit of 3 days in order to activate his Shinigami powers. During this time, a hole appears within Ichigo's chest, and his Chain of Fate begins to consume itself. A white substance seeps from this hole that has formed within Ichigo's chest, and it begins to form a mask on Ichigo's face, as we see that Ichigo is gradually being transformed into a Hollow, and the only way to stop this is by Ichigo gaining his own Shinigami powers. While Ichigo is struggling to gain his powers within his inner world, this Hollow Mask that is forming on Ichigo's actual body appears to differ from the Hollow Masks that we are used to. This Hollow Mask appears to have no mouth, and the lines that we see typically running down from the eyelids are drawn right to the bottom of the mask, covering where the mouth should be. One similarity of this early iteration of the Hollow Mask that we see in chapter 63 is that it also has two red stripes running down the left side of the mask. Like I mentioned earlier, chapter 64 is the first time that we see Ichigo's Hollow Mask as we know it. It appears strikingly similar to a human skull, the only difference being the distinctive markings and the menacing slanted eyes, which convey this sense of emptiness, and I would totally agree with this notion that Ichigo appears as a monster while donning his Hollow Mask. For me, the Hollow Mask invokes fear and a lack of control. It is raw instinctive battle power. We next see Ichigo's Hollow Mask appear sporadically during the early portions of the Soul Society arc, where it appears to automatically manifest itself on different areas of Ichigo's body prior to him being attacked by the enemy, as if to demonstrate that the Hollow Masks are protecting Ichigo from being injured. And we see this firsthand during Ichigo's battle against Renji, which occurs between chapters 94 to 97. When Ichigo is being healed by Hinataro, he discovers that Ichigo's Hollow Mask had protected him from being damaged by one of Renji's attacks. You'll immediately notice that this Hollow Mask that Hinataro had found in chapter 100 appears to have 3 red stripes on the left side of its face. Other than this, it appears completely identical to the mask that was formed in chapter 64. Hinataro questions why Ichigo has in his possession a mask that resembles a Hollow's mask, and he comments on the durability of this mask, that it was able to stop an attack from Renji. Another instance of Ichigo's Hollow Mask appearing to protect him occurs during his battle against Kinpachi. In chapter 116, Yoriichi reveals to Ichigo that if this Hollow Mask had not appeared, then Ichigo would have been cut clean in half. From Yoriichi's questioning, it appears that Ichigo didn't even know that he had this Hollow Mask in his possession. We learn that Ichigo had thrown the previous mask away that Hinataro had found, but Yoriichi is shocked to learn that it had reappeared. Ichigo goes on to say that he is going to hold on to his Hollow Mask, but Yoriichi demands that he gives it to her. This moment is very vague and mysterious, but it is clear that Yoriichi is worried about something, as she says to herself that she doubts it, but it's better safe than sorry, referring to Ichigo wanting to hold on to this Hollow Mask. Yoriichi's reaction clearly proves to us the reader that there is more to this hollow mask than meets the eye, and it's an excellent setup for a mystery that Kubo slowly intertwines into his story. And again, you'll see that this hollow mask that we see in chapter 116 has a further stripe on the side of its face. It now has 4 red stripes running down the left side of the face. The hollow mask next appears in chapter 165 during Ichigo's battle against Byakuya. When Ichigo's inner hollow takes over Ichigo's body and battles against Byakuya for him, the hollow mask begins to gradually form on Ichigo's face. But before it can completely form, Ichigo removes the hollow mask from his face. He doesn't want to rely on any external help, not even from his own inner hollow. During this time, similar to the appearance of the hollow mask in chapter 116, it only had 4 stripes on the left side of its face. The only difference is that the hollow mask did not completely get a chance to form on Ichigo's face. But despite this, it was the first time that we saw this alternative personality that lays dormant within Ichigo manifest, and it certainly added to the air of mystery surrounding the origin and the purpose of the hollow mask. During the early portions of the Arrancar arc, Ichigo can feel the presence of his inner hollow increasing, and in chapter 193 an attempt is made by his inner hollow to take over Ichigo's being, but Ichigo refuses and is then beaten by Yami. We next see Ichigo's hollow mask appear in chapter 220 while he is training with the vizards and trying to gain control of his hollow abilities. During this time, Ichigo's inner hollow has taken over his body and he is gradually becoming hollowified. In chapter 222 you can see that Ichigo has taken on this hollow form. He has the very familiar hollow mask on his face and has transformed into what appears to be a lizard-like hollow. The markings on the left side of Ichigo's hollow mask have now increased to 5 red stripes. After Ichigo regains control of his body, he emerges from the remains of this hollow form. He appears to be donning a hollow mask, but there is a considerable change, as there are now 9 red stripes running across the left side of the mask. We see Ichigo utilize this hollow mask during his training with Hiyori, as he tries to increase the length of time that he can stay in his masked form. During Ichigo's rematch with Grimmjow in chapter 231, Ichigo dons his hollow mask. After his training with the vizards, he is only able to retain his hollow mask for 11 seconds. What you'll notice, Kubo does a close-up shot of Ichigo's hollow mask in chapter 231. The red stripes are divided into 3 sections, with the top half of the left-hand side of the mask having 4 red stripes. Through the close-up shot, we see that the middle portion of the left-hand side of the mask has 3 red stripes, and it is easy to distinguish that the bottom half of the mask has 3 red stripes. So during his rematch with Grimmjow, there were 10 red stripes on Ichigo's hollow mask. At this point, you can only assume that these red stripes represent Ichigo's control over his hollow abilities, as he deals heavy damage on Grimmjow while his hollow mask is intact. But the tables quickly turn when Ichigo's hollow mask cracks in chapter 232, and he begins to be soundly beaten by Grimmjow. We then see Ichigo utilize his hollow mask in Huecamundo during his battle against Dodoni. The Privaron Espada convinces Ichigo to use his hollow mask. He desires to fight Ichigo at his best. Ichigo momentarily manifests his hollow mask, and the markings appear to be similar to the last time that he had utilized it against Grimmjow. And similar to before, Ichigo's power is increased dramatically while he is donning the hollow mask. He is able to cut down the Privaron Espada Dodoni with one strike. In chapter 280, during Ichigo's final battle against Grimmjow, he dons his hollow mask in order to protect Orihime and Nell from a Grand Ray Sero that Grimmjow fires towards them. You can clearly see 10 red stripes on the left side of Ichigo's hollow mask, and I don't know if it's just me, but these stripes appear to be getting thicker and thicker each time that the hollow mask is being formed. In chapter 282, we get an excellent close-up shot of Ichigo's hollow mask during this battle. You can see how terrifying it is, and it strikes fear into the heart of Orihime, as she begins to be scared of Ichigo. In chapter 344, Ichigo dons his hollow mask in order to battle against Ulquiorra, and the theme continues as the red stripes appear to be getting thicker and longer, covering more of the left side of the hollow mask. In chapter 350, when Ichigo transforms into his new hollow form, the Vasto Lorde form, it results in a complete change for Ichigo's hollow mask. While Ichigo is in his Vasto Lorde form, there are 2 black lines running down the left and right hand side of his mask, and this is consistent with the first time that Ichigo uses his hollow mask after he had defeated Ulquiorra. In chapter 378, Ichigo activates his hollow mask while he is battling Yami, and you'll notice that the color of the stripes that appear on Ichigo's hollow mask are no longer red. There are 2 prominent black lines running down the left hand side and the right hand side of his hollow mask. The change is so prominent that even Rukia comments upon it in chapter 379, as she states that the pattern on Ichigo's hollow mask appears to be different. She was aware that the markings on Ichigo's hollow mask do change with time, but this time the markings are completely different. Even Ichigo feels that there was something different about utilizing his hollow mask on this occasion, as he states that his hollow mask had felt too heavy. In the same chapter, when Ichigo attempts to summon his hollow mask again, he is unable to. Even Aizen comments upon this in chapter 388, when he states that Ichigo should have surprise attacked him while wearing his hollow mask. It is like Aizen was aware that Ichigo is unable to use it. Ichigo ends up activating his hollow mask for the final time in the story in chapter 404, during his battle against Genichimaru. Once again, nothing changes and the markings on Ichigo's hollow mask remain the color black. So trying to understand what these markings mean on Ichigo's hollow mask, you can see that the color red is used within Bleach to represent Shinigami powers. Not only this, the inside of Ichigo's Bankai Shinigami Shihakusho is also red, so you can assume that the early iterations of Ichigo's hollow mask which had red stripes can allude to Ichigo's own control over his hollow powers. And you'll note that a change occurs after Ichigo's Vasto Lorde transformation, where the markings on Ichigo's hollow mask completely change and the color also changes. The color black representing Ichigo no longer having control over his hollow powers. There are two instances where Ichigo's hollow mask undergoes a considerable change. The first is after his training with the vizards, and we see 9 red stripes on the left side of his hollow mask. And this is completely in line with this theory that the red stripes represent the control that Ichigo has over his hollow powers, since the highest number of stripes appear after he trains with the vizards and gains control of his hollow abilities. And the second major change in Ichigo's hollow mask occurs after his Vasto Lorde transformation. These very symbolic markings that appear on the various iterations of Ichigo's hollow mask can be seen to be inherited in Ichigo's fullbring form, as he has multiple black markings all over his body along with a brand new Shinigami Shihakusho, and most notably he has this X mark on his chest. And if you followed my videos long enough, then you're aware that Ichigo's fullbring form has his hollow powers incorporated into it, and thus he no longer needs to don a hollow mask, which explains why we never see him use a hollow mask after chapter 404. Now ultimately this is just my theory on what the markings on Ichigo's hollow mask mean and represent, but I would love to know what all of you think. What kind of meanings and symbolism did you derive from Ichigo's hollow abilities and his hollow mask? Do you agree with my explanation or disagree with it? And is there anything that I missed about Ichigo's hollow mask? I can't wait to read all of your comments on this aspect of Bleach which has barely been covered by anyone. And if you want to learn more about Ichigo's hollow abilities, then check out my Hollow Ichigo character analysis video. In that video, I go into great detail about Ichigo's hollow powers, explaining how they are eventually incorporated into his Shinigami powers and the truth behind who Hollow Ichigo really is. So if you're interested in Ichigo's powers, then definitely check out that video. But for now, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next Bleach video. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, then please consider supporting my channel on Patreon. I have multiple tiers with rewards including access to an exclusive Discord server, video scripts, as well as being the first to know about unreleased upcoming videos. Thank you for your time, and whatever you choose to contribute I will appreciate, and it will mean a lot to me.